10.5, I wanted to call the board's attention to the very last item in our board books, the well lot easement agreement. And this is findings unfortunate because with Wayne and I just having a heated discussion about a difference of opinion, this is going to sound like I'm beating up on Wayne, and I don't want it to sound that way because that's not what I intend at all. But I do have two issues with this well lot easement agreement. One is the content. And first of all, I understand that we have to do this. We have a contract with Aqua. We have to give them the right to do what they need to do to provide us water. That notwithstanding, I think that the agreement in our document goes too far in providing what I view essentially as carte blanche to permit Aqua to do whatever it deems necessary without any further consultation with the association. You'll all remember we sat in this very room a few months back and we all decried the fact that Aqua had cut down some trees and started well drilling over here by the volleyball court, and nobody had any prior knowledge of that going on. And at that time, we expressed the sense of the board that we want that Aqua should certainly consult with us and shouldn't run open loop. And Aqua ought to be governed by the same rules that everybody else is up here. They need to get approval by the architectural committee or what have you to do those kind of things. The agreement in our board book really departs from that sense in that it permits Aqua to proceed and I quote, without limitation. And another quote, at Aqua's sole and absolute discretion to do several things. And in my way of thinking, that's simply too broad a mandate. I think if we had run this by our legal community, they would have said that you haven't built into it enough protections for us. You've given up the farm, so to speak. My second criticism is with the process itself. Here it's going to sound like I'm beating up on you again, Wayne, and I really don't mean this as a personal attack. Please don't take it that way. But I think we need to get more in more in sync with the operating procedures is in our articles of incorporation. And by that I mean to the best of my knowledge, there was no board review of this document. It was signed as a unilateral act by our president. And again, I want to remind everybody here in this room that our own governing documents clearly state that the affairs of the association are managed by a board of directors. Same documents afford the president the authority to preside at meetings of the board of directors and to see that resolutions and decisions made by the board are carried out. Nowhere in our documents is the president or any other individual in the association afforded unilateral action to make decisions. All the decisions are made here in this board. And I think that this kind of a document that gives away so much of our rights to our property is clearly something that needs to come to the board for its review and approval. And then once the board has approved it, the president signs it. But I just don't see it as a unilateral action on the part of the president or any other individual. And so those are my two concerns with this document. I would hope, Wayne, that it's not too late to recover this from our friends. I see they haven't signed it as yet. Maybe they have by now.
Of course, you have represented this as a unilateral decision, probably failing to notice it requires 2 board signatures. So I didn't do it unilaterally.
What?
It requires 2 board signatures.
Where are the 2 boards?
If you look at the signature page, it requires 2 board members to sign.
Okay. Okay. I don't see 2 signatures.
Huh? Well, look at the signature page, please.
Yeah.
Lake Holiday Country Club, 1 signature block for title president, 1 signature block for title board member, and it doesn't fill around enough, so it hasn't been done yet.
Great, then all the better, all the better.
Okay,
Well,
I'm more than happy to do all these things by committee and sit here till midnight or 1 o'clock at every board meeting. And if the board wishes to do that, that's fine. I've certainly got no quarrel with it. The reason why I decided to go ahead with this, based on my signature and Dave's signature, which I suspect he would have given, although he may have had some quarrel with it, is because this is the decision the board's already made. The board entered into a contractual relationship with Aqua and agreed in that the document of sale of our utility company to Aqua to grant them easements under certain conditions. This is one of the conditions under which we've already agreed to grant easements. This is simply the implementation of decisions and policies the board has already put in place, not a new policy. We all the time have unilateral execution of implementation. And we give Ray powers all the time. Once we give him a budget and an authorization to spend so much money, he goes and decides how he spends it. This was a decision on my part that there was simply an implementation act. Again, if the board wants to do all these things in 11-person committee, let's do it. Yes, Joy?
Well, I would just like to say that this is a legal document, and we do run to our lawyers a lot to get legal opinions. And I am a real estate lawyer, and I don't see why you wouldn't ask me to read it. I think it's too broad. You know, I never signed an easement. I wouldn't sign an easement to my property without asking our lawyer to look at it. So, I mean, I think that it isn't just like we want to make every decision by committee. I don't think that's what John's saying. I don't think we want to make every decision by committee. But I do think when we're executing legal documents, we ought to give them some look to, and frankly, I'm on the board and I am a lawyer, so I'm free. So I'm willing to look at these things before we sign them, for what it's worth.
You know, there's always going to be a gray area between implementation versus decisions. Policy implementation, carrying out the policy. But, you know, Lake Holiday suffers from such a history of decisions being made by well-intentioned perhaps, but by small groups at best, or maybe individuals. And I think it would behoove us to do everything we can to turn that around. And if we're going to err on the side of getting more people involved in a decision rather than fewer. Again, it's always a judgment call, and that's why I said I don't want to beat up on you. I really don't mean to beat up on you on this one. I'm just saying, my way of thinking is that we get more and more people involved just so we can get out of this litigious environment that we're so deeply engrossed in right now.